Okay, so we're going to talk about density today. And density isn't super hard as long as you know the formulas or the equations that help you calculate density. You are going to need a handy dandy calculator. Today I will be using my phone because it's the only calculator I have. So a simple calculator will do. So I'm going to share my screen and we will get started. Okay, so I'm going to pull up my annotator tool and I'm going to choose a pretty dark color, hoping that will be visible to you guys. Okay, cool. Maybe we'll do black. Highlighter's a little... Okay, so there are three formulas to calculate density. There is mass equals volume multiplied by density. There is volume equals mass divided by density. And then there is the most common formula, which is density equals mass divided by volume. So if we're gonna highlight anything, we're gonna highlight this one because this is the most important one because it's the one that comes up the most often. In my opinion, it's the one that comes up the most, usually on SOLs. Definitely in earth science, you will see this formula the most. The other two are useful, but you will always see density equals mass and volume. So we're gonna erase this and do some more. Okay, so what do these things mean? Let's put out our text tool. So M equals mass, and V equals volume, and D equals density. These things are important to know. So mass is how heavy something is. So it is the weight of something. So usually this is calculated in grams, which is represented by a G, or ounces, which is represented by OZ. OZ, I apologize. Typically in a formula, these letters are important. They are like variables in math. They are very important to the formula. Volume is how much space something takes up. So I have this cup full of tea. I don't know if you guys can see that. The volume of this tea is based on the cup. How much of the container does it take up? So if you guys look at this, it's pretty full to the brim right now. It's pretty high up in the container, but if I drink some, it's now much lower in the container. So the volume just went down or decreased because it's not taking up as much space. So volume is how much space something takes up. And it's usually represented by milliliters, which is represented by a little m and a big L, or sometimes cm3, which is centimeters to the third, cubed, if you will, all of those things. So these are typically what you would see in a mathematical formula. So let's talk about what this would look like. So if I were to say 254 grams and 2.5 milliliters, what is my density? So if we know that density is, in order to get density, we have to do, here I'll write the formulas again in case we forgot. Density equals mass divided, how do I do a division? We're just gonna have to, we'll do this, divided by volume. To get volume, it's volume equals mass divided by density, and to get mass, you do mass equals volume multiply by density. All right, so that's how we get all of our formulas. So if I said I have 254 grams, and grams is mass, and 2.4 milliliters, and milliliters is volume, what is my density? So what do I do with these two numbers? If I want to find out my density, I have to divide these numbers. So what I'm going to do is 254 divided by 2.4, and then I'm going to do equals. So if I bust out my calculator here, 254 divided by 2.4, my answer is 105.8. So I'm going to put 105.83. It's pretty good to do two numbers after the decimal or one, in which case you need to round. Now, this is my answer, but it's missing a piece. I need to put the variable, so G divided by ML. So this is my full answer. This is, I'm going to put that in a different color, or the whole thing. So this is my answer right here. 105.83 grams divided by milliliters is my density. That is how it's calculated. It's pretty simple. Once you know what all of these things mean, that is how this is calculated. So let's try another one. I'm making these problems up as I go. If my density is 763.2 grams by milliliters, and my mass is 246 grams, what is my volume? So I just asked, if my density is 763.2 grams by milliliters and my mass is 246, what is my volume? So just like math, you're going to look for all the numbers first. So my first number is 763.2. And it says density is. So I know this is my density also because it has two variables. And my mass is 246. So what is my volume? So let's go up here. How do I find my volume? Volume is mass divided by density. So my mass, 246, divided by my density, 263.2, equals, so we're going to do 246 divided by 763.2, and I get 0.32 milliliters. So my volume is 0.32 milliliters. We have to put our variable back. And we know what our variable is because it says it right here for the density. So all we're doing is calculating it back. So let's do like two more. If my volume is 24.2 centimeters squared, and my density is 76.34 grams or ounces by centimeters cubed, what is my mass? So let's look at our variables here. I have my volume and I have my density. What am I missing? I'm missing my mass. How do I get my mass? I need to multiply volume by density. So my volume is 24.2, and we're going to multiply that by our density, which is 76.34, which equals 24.2 multiply 76.34. 1,847.43. Now on my calculator it says 428. But the reason we're saying 43 is because the 8 rounds the 2 up. So for those who don't know rounding rules, anything 5 or more, you go up. Anything 4 or less, you go down. That's why this is my answer. Now, can't forget the variable. And our variable is set right here in our density. So our variable is OZ, and this is our final answer. So nothing too bad, as long as you guys know the formula. All right, we're gonna do one more, and then I'm gonna introduce you to the worksheet that goes along with this, which should be pretty simple. So if my mass is 165 ounces and my volume is 433 centimeters cubed, what is my density? So how do we figure this out? Look at our density formula, mass divided by volume. 165 divided by 433 gives us 165 divided by 433 gives me 0.38 ounces divided by centimeters cubed, and that is our final answer for density. All right, so we are going to keep this in mind. We're going to do a few examples on our worksheet, and then that's it for today about density. Pretty simple stuff. So, I need my mouse. All right, so we are going to put our text tool back out. We're going to take our mouse and put our test tool back out. And I'm going to put the formulas back up. So mass is mass equals volume times density. Volume is volume equals mass divided by density, and then density is density equals mass divided by volume. All right, so let's keep that in mind as we work on this sheet together. So right here, we have some spaces missing in our worksheet. We have some information missing. So we have our mass, our volume, and our density. So let's figure out how we can fill in the missing pieces. So right here, we have our mass and we have our volume. We're missing our density. So what do I need to do? I need to divide these two numbers. So I'm going to divide 125 by 4.6. And what am I going to get if I divide those two numbers? 125 divided by 4.6. I get 27.17, and I don't need to round, so 27.17. Don't forget your variables, G divided by milliliters. And I am all done. It is that simple. It does not have to be super complicated. Let's do another one. So right here, I am missing my volume. So to get my volume, I need to divide my mass and my density. So I'm going to take 70 and 55, and I'm going to divide them. And what do I get? 70 divided by 55, I get 1.27. Repeating, 1.27 gram, or milliliters. So this is my final answer. So as long as you have the formulas, the rest is pretty easy. All you are doing is filling in the missing pieces, the missing information. And that's it. That's how you do density. Nothing too complicated, nothing too hard. If you have any questions, please just email, text me, whatever you need to do.